Mikey, Donnie, Raph, and Leo are actually teenagers in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. This is the brand new CG animated movie produced by Seth Rogen and his Point Grey Pictures. And you can tell that this movie was made with a tremendous amount of care and love. The people involved that put this thing together, that crafted it, obviously taking cues from the Spider-Verse movies, wanted to build something very fresh and very fun. It's loaded with great actors. Lots of friends of Seth Rogen, Paul Rudd, and Rose Byrne are in this movie. Giancarlo Esposito actually plays Baxter Stockman, and Seth Rogen himself plays Bebop in this movie. But there's also great comedy actors in here, like Ayo Edebiri. She plays April O'Neil in this new movie, and you know her from The Bear. She's fantastic on that show. Hannibal Buress is in this movie. Jackie Chan plays Splinter, which is just an inspired piece of casting. Every actor is really solid in this movie. And I'm not going to spoil anything with this film, but truthfully, there isn't a lot to spoil because this is a Turtles origin tale. And there are other mutants that start to populate this very crowded film, but you know most of these characters from Turtles lore. What's really different about this approach, and I think first and foremost, is that they cast actual teenagers who are all incredibly talented. Nicolas Cantu plays Leonardo. We've got Shamon Brown Jr. playing Michelangelo, Micah Abbey playing Donatello, and Brady Noon playing Raphael. And they're all terrific. The repartee, the camaraderie, they're talking over each other in the lines. Sometimes it's a little bit hard to discern who is actually on screen talking, but that's, I've got a preteen now, so I'm starting to understand that's exactly like what teenagers are when they enter a room. Everybody's just talking and joking and kidding and making fun of each other, and that's how these four awesome characters interact and play. And essentially what's at the core and heart of this story is that these turtles just long for some respect and some appreciation from the humans. And they're looking up through the sewer grate, looking at these humans having these magical lives. And at one point, these four sneak out to watch this outdoor movie, and they're enamored by what they're seeing, and they just have this fantasy of being accepted by the humans around them. But of course, they are looked at as freaks and monsters and mutants, and they freak out everybody that they encounter. But April O'Neil has an empathetic streak and a super tuned intelligence, and she kind of clues in that these turtles are good and they're worth pursuing a friendship with, and all of that is really put together very, very well. I loved the connections between Splinter and the kids. I thought that worked really well, and Jackie Chan has got some awesome lines in this movie. And of course, sort of under the guidance of Seth Rogen, there's some comedy that kind of pushes the boundary, which I really appreciated. I saw this in a not very crowded theater, which kind of disappointed me. I really wanted people to turn out for this, but there were some younger kids in the audience, and one of them was just like super getting into it. Anytime there were fight scenes or whatever, it's just like, yeah, just get like punch in the air and just getting super excited and clapping. It was really cute. But people really responded to that, and they really responded to the training montages and the stuff that we saw with the Turtles and Splinter, which was fantastic. There's some good action sequences in here, but the real story with this movie, and it's so funny because there was a trailer for Disney's new movie called Wish, which is coming up, and you can see in Wish that it looks a little bit different from some of the Pixar stuff and some of the mainline Disney animation stuff that we've seen from their CG houses. And I was thinking about this. It's like a lot of the Pixar and the Disney movies look like they could all be cut from the same story or the same universe. But Wish has kind of a comic booky flavor to it. There's a little bit more shading. It looks a little bit different. And we've seen now the influence that Into the Spider-Verse has had in the animation industry. It's like a true revolution. And there's a lot of incredible animation that's happening at houses all over the world. Like the team that worked on What If had some really great stuff as well. And it's starting to permeate. And I think animators are being kind of set free with the stylistic tones that they can put into their work. And that is absolutely exemplified here. The story and the main reason why you want to see Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem is that it's freaking beautiful. And I love that it has, lots of characters that look like they were drawn by teenagers into sketch pads and doodle books and things like that. They look like doodles. Everybody's asymmetrical. They might have one sort of wider cheek, but it's beautifully animated. So there's like this precision to the way that characters interact and emote, but they look a little distorted, a little super deformed, and there's rough edges and there's stuff that's not clearly defined in the foreground. But all of it is just staggering. And I was just blown away by the visual stimulation of this movie, much in the same way that I was with Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse. And I just want to, again, just commend the team at Sony Animation and all the people behind the Spider-Verse films for taking that leap and just risking stuff and bringing this new visual statement out into the marketplace. And of course, that was a massive success. I don't know if Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is going to have that same impact. I don't know. Judging by the kind of thin crowd that I saw this with, my hopes are a little bit dashed. I mean, this is a weird summer with the strikes. It's super hot as well. It's a holiday weekend, and so a lot of people are probably not going to be around movie theaters. So it will suck if this one doesn't do at least some reasonable business, but I don't know. I just was really freaking impressed by the visual punch of this movie, and of course, smartly produced with iconic music all the way through it, lots of hip-hop. I love the way that New York kind of comes to life in this picture, and the characters of New York as well. There's a lot of really interesting character work and the human creations, lots of funked up faces and things like that. It's just really fun to kind of look into every nook and cranny in every corner, and it made me pine for a game that looks like this. And it's shocking to me that we don't have anything, at least I'm not aware of anything that's been announced that employs the look of this. And I've taken a look at some of the action figures and some of the toys and stuff, and they're just not up to snuff, man. They're not as good. I've got NECA figures behind me. They're not anywhere close to the look and quality of these. These are Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time figures based off of the old 16-bit video game. They don't have anything that looks as cool as that. So I feel like there's some drop balls with where they could go with the Turtles with this kind of imagination, because it's really freaking cool. My only real detraction on this is that it is trotting over familiar territory if you're at all familiar with the Turtles, because we're getting baby turtles in chemicals and they're mutating and they're, self-analyzing and they're like woebegone teenagers that just want to be accepted again. And we've seen that story. It's been done and done, but it's charming as hell. It's so elegantly made, and there's some really, really fun work all the way through this. I definitely encourage you to see this movie. It doesn't register with the same tremendous blast of artistry that Across the Spider-Verse already did this year, but it's still really special. I'm going to give Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem an 8 out of 10.